What I want to share with you is, in this life, sometimes we make a plan for like the next 10 years or 5 years. This is what I want to accomplish. This is how much Qur'an I want to memorize. This is how much I'd like to be able to make in terms of money. This is when I would like to get married. We set goals for ourselves and we strive towards those goals, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I tell you, if you internalize this ayah, you learn to put those plans in one compartment in your head, and in the other compartment you realize that all of that means nothing if I'm not building my akhirah. All of those plans are worthless, they are meaningless, they are not any kind of accomplishment at all if this is not building me towards Allah, if it's not taking me closer, if it's not making me a slave of Allah. There are people's perceptions of us, and then there's the reality. People's perception, our own perception, and then reality. People's perception may be you're successful. People's perception may be you're knowledgeable. People's perception may be you've accomplished something. And the opposite is true too. People's perception might be you're worth nothing. But you know what? People's perception at the end of the day means nothing. It really means, it stands to benefit you nothing before Allah. It will not add to your deeds, it won't take away from them. People's criticisms will not take away from you, and people's praise will not add to you. It will not. And at the end of the day, when people get praise and criticism from others all the time, you know what starts happening? They start getting affected by it. So they start seeing themselves in light of how other people see them. So their image of themselves becomes polluted because they're not seeing themselves for who they really are, they're seeing themselves in light of other people's words. That's a human phenomenon. This is why we have Allah's word. So we can see ourselves in light of Allah's words. So and that'll help us see ourselves for who we really truly are. And at the end of the day, really truly, we can have friendships and family and loved ones and community. We can have all of those things, but at the end of the day, we are in this world alone. We came alone and we're going to leave alone. And in that solitude, if you don't find a connection with Allah, then all these fake connections that you have, and I have, that are not really based in a relationship with Allah, they will all disappear. They will not last. The facade will dissipate eventually. If not in this life, then in the next. So we have to internalize a very powerful reality that Allah has given us. We treasure all of our relationships so long as they are something that are building us towards the akhirah. So I want to leave you with this picture. وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. What Allah has in His possession is better. Now what we have right now is also in Allah's possession. It's not like this is not in the possession of Allah. But it's as though, by using the word ma here, it is as though Allah is saying, I don't want to tell you what I have yet. I have a mystery for you. There's something I have in my possession, and it's better. And it's better. In other words, it hasn't been given to you yet. Now, one would immediately think what Allah has, He must be talking about Jannah. But as a matter of fact, because He opened the door by saying, مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ, not وَالْجَنَّةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى, He said, مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. Whatever Allah has, whatever Allah has. And what Allah has, some of which He gave to you now, not just in terms of dunya, but He also gave you in terms of that road to Jannah. That road itself is better. The revelation of Allah is better than everything else you've been given. The word of Allah is better, because that word of Allah, if you and I can live by it, it'll get us somewhere far better. And so in this ayah there are two comparisons. These are my last reminders for myself and you. Two comparisons that we constantly have to make if we are going to survive this world and not be taken in by the perceptions that are actually not real. The perceptions of people or the false self-image that we might develop. What is that? What is that reality check? وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Whatever Allah has is, number one, better. Number two, lasts longer. Longer lasting, as far as those who really have Iman are concerned. So now every experience in life, I compare to something else that Allah has, and what Allah has must be better. What Allah has must be better. It's a small reminder. You go into the store to buy yourself some new clothes. The moment you grab this thing and you're putting it on the cash register, just to at that moment think, وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. What Allah has, the clothing Allah will give me, is better. Whatever is acceptable with Allah in Jannah for me is better for those who believe. Then of course this is not just for the believer in terms of the things that are halal. We're about to eat some good food. You enjoy the good food. If you can tell yourself right as you're eating, وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. You don't become, the akhirah doesn't just become some cliche thing you bring up. Oh, you only bring it up when somebody's going through trouble. No, inshallah Allah will give you in the akhirah. Not only that, it becomes a part of your life. The akhirah becomes something you think about all the time. Because Allah didn't just describe it as something that is there in the heavens, He described it as something that is with Allah. Now what does inda mean? Inda suggests closeness. So Jannah is, the acquisition of Jannah necessarily means closeness to Allah. So what Allah is offering is in this ayah also closeness to Him. وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. They place their trust in Allah. I tell you, if you develop, and I develop this attitude, then worldly possessions and worldly gain and worldly loss will become easy to deal with. Easy to deal with.